Let me take you to a slightly less happier moment than the moment we've got now, which is, what was your reaction, what was your thought process in the first 10 seconds when Daniel goes down? What's going through your mind?
Shock.
Yeah?
I froze momentarily. Time stood still. That was not a part of the plan. Yeah? That was not a part of the plan. And luckily for the soldier, warrior, Daniel, yeah? Imagine what the magnitude of the pressure this kid is carrying.
Did you have confidence at that point when he hit the floor? Because this is really interesting, because like you say, when you're talking about history and whether Daniel's going to get up, and if he goes down a game, which he did go down a game,
right.
you think now, you know, does he lose a little bit of heart, a little bit of soul? What was your initial thought when he'd gone down?
I told you,
shock.
In shock.
Yeah, but did you have confidence that he was going to get up? Like,
no, hell no. It was
any heavyweight, sorry to interrupt, any heavyweight gets hit like that so early, you'd expect automatically the one who's scored the knockdown to jump on him, and Wardley didn't, and I think that was...
Right, you asked me, did I... No, I'd be lying if I said, yeah, he's be all right. I'm not the one who took the... And you know that kind of shot is on the temple.
Yeah.
It scrambles your brain momentarily. Yeah. Right?
When you unpack it, how do you think that happened? Why do you think it happened?
Because the part of that game plan, the main part of our game plan, because we knew how dangerous Fabio Wardley is an athletic fighter, yeah? The distance control was so important for this campaign. Yeah. And I used the word discipline, that was the code word for the campaign. Keep your defensive discipline, keep your distance control discipline, okay? And be present, Yeah. So as soon as the bell rang, Fabio came, and it thought, oh, this is brilliant, he's there.
Yeah.
Bam. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, I was in shock. The team, the corner, it's like, that's not supposed... So obviously, momentarily, time froze.
Yeah.
Then I have to quickly...
Engage,
yeah. The instructions was, if you find yourself down,
yeah.
we have to learn from our previous mistakes.
Yeah.
Look for the corner.
Right.
Look for the corner, and do you know what? I was so happy.
But for you, right?
He did this several times in the fight, looking for the corner.
But for you,
not for the corner.
Okay.
Yeah? And I'm going to come to something in a minute, yeah?
Okay.
So as soon as he went down, guess what he did? He looked to the corner. So for you to look to the corner,
you know he's together.
You know where you still know where you are. Yeah. And then, this is why all those people who knock... I'm not stupid, I'm a very wise man, right? I've been persecuted. What you got the father in the corner for, right? If that was me, I wouldn't... That man, Daniel Dubois, where's the camera? Irrespective of how good I am as a coach experience, I needed him in that corner. If I ever needed that man, the voice that got his son to stand up was his voice. Why? Because that's the voice that Daniel Dubois recognizes, not mine.
Yeah.
When it comes to giving instructions, it's my voice. When those moments, boy, did I need him in that corner.
The crisis moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Talk to me about, obviously your corner work is going to get praised, and we are praising you now, and we praised you previously, but hang on, I haven't finished the question. Right. I want to take you to the slap, because we talk about how important the communication is between him and his father at certain times. But everyone is looking at that moment where you slapped him in the corner and going, that's a fascinating piece of corner work. Talk to me about what the motivation and thinking behind that was.
It's not something I premeditated. It's not something I planned to do. It's an instinctive energy charged reaction.
It's a hell of a thing to do, isn't it?
I'll tell you what drove me to do that, because it was at the beginning of round 4?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think it was beginning of round 4 or 5. Anyway, so he's come back, and I've realised that Fabio is unleashing bombs and not connecting.
Right.
Do you know how sapping that is? It's harder, you waste more energy by missing than actually making contact. Yeah. So I'm thinking, brilliant, brilliant. I said to my colleague in the corner with me, Tony Pill, I said, Tone, he's swinging, he's missing, brilliant. I was hoping he will carry on doing that. Because by now, Daniel has gone back to what because Daniel's got a brilliant amateur pedigree.
Yep.
The footwork of an amateur was the technique was part of the game plan. Use your amateur footwork, because we know Fabio will struggle. You can't punch what's not there, basically.
Of course.
Go like a pendulum, in, out, like a pendulum.
Yeah.
And that's what we started.
But that's what
using
Josh Boax was saying next to me. He's saying to me, Daniel's starting to time his right hand now and seeing it. And when Fabio's exactly.
Just a little push out of the range.
When did you or others start thinking, Spence, that this fight needs to be brought to an end? I mean, I spoke to Carl Froch. Carl Froch on the way back from Manchester, and he said, I think after the 7th round, I was looking at it going, I think we're getting to the point now where there's very little chance of Fabio winning this fight. When did others start to think that there's a point that this fight maybe needs to be brought to a conclusion?
That's funny, Carl Froch says at the end of the 7th round, when you look at his fight against Jermaine Taylor, you go, like, you could have pulled him out well before that. What I'm saying is, he gritted his teeth and he come through it, like Daniel did in this fight. So, you know, when you're looking at comparisons, you just go, I was looking at it going, at the end of round 9 was the point where I went, right, the corner needs to pull him out now. He totally went staggering back to the corner. I spoke to Ben Davison about this. He said that he'd missed that part. He said, I've gone down to get the towel when the bell rang for the beginning of round 10. He said, the bell rang and he's come stumbling out the corner again. I went, this fight has to be stopped right now. Like, that was the latest that you could have done it, right? But let me just say this, Paul, right? So he gets then taken over to the doctor. The doctor doesn't stop the fight, and you think, wow, like, is the corner, like, who's looking for it? The referee hasn't stopped it, the doctor hasn't stopped it, the corner should have stopped it. Ben Davison said he went down to get the towel. His chief second obviously hadn't seen it. He didn't see the stumble. He said, otherwise, I would have probably pulled him out. Yeah. He said, but he missed that one. But you got to the point of where it was so heroic. It was like, if it was like, let's say, a Rocky VI movie, you're going, this is a bit far-fetched. Yep. It started to become like that, but you're starting to worry about him because we know what Fabio is, that character. You go, that he can grit it out, he can grind it out, but you go, it started becoming like what cost there.
Were you disappointed with the doctors, Paul? I mean, I watched from the ringside, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, this doctor appears to be putting his blue-covered gloves inside Fabio Wardley's nose, where there's a hole there, and I can see the bone.
Yeah.
And that, to me, doesn't look...
We've said that on here a few times, haven't we? I think any fight that Wardley's in, he's at a disadvantage for facial injuries, and that will never be with a clash of heads. That's always going to be a punch. It was extreme, but to defend the doctors, and again, it's always going to look like I'm blasting into Ben Davison and the team here. You're saying Ben Davison missed that. But Lee Wiley stands and staring at the action all the time. So if you're you've got to have a word. I had a word with our Liam. I'm sitting, Liam and Callum in a row, and I had a word with our Liam. I said, these are going to have to start looking at me and pulling them out. And our Liam went, Paul, world champion. Yeah. Had them down twice. If you pull me out, I'm going to be fuming. And I'm thinking, yeah, I agree that. But if I pull you out, it's for your own good because this isn't comfortable at the moment. Then 8, 9, no. At the start of the 10th round, that's enough for me. That's done. But you still let him out for the 11th. When the referee did the job. I think Howard Foster did a really good job on the night. And he gave the doctors the opportunity both times to help him out a little bit. But in the doctor's defence, the eye, he kept saying, how many fingers? 2, 3, 1, 4. And he got it right every time. So the eye was OK, you could still see through it. And the nose, as a cut, it probably wasn't as bad enough to stop it. But the corners there, paramount.
Because I know that Fabio, Fabio texted Jim and said, you know, that he doesn't, you know, he's absolutely 100% behind his corner, which I like to see that kind of loyalty. That's how it should be, because they'll be loyal to him. Yeah. But there is a balance, isn't there, between not the aesthetic damages being done in the ring at that moment in time, it's what happens afterwards and what you're left with and what you're leaving your fighter to be able to do in the future.
I think that's the argument, Simon. I think when you look at it, it was the accumulation of punches, the volume of punches. You go, when he's taking them over to the doctor and the doctor's looking at the cut, I'm not saying, well, is the cut bad enough to stop the fight? It's about the punishment he's been taking. The doctor's got to look at him. All right, he's responding to 1, 2 or whatever. That's not the point
job,
here.
Though,
absolutely, at some point...
Isn't the doctor's job to look at the aesthetics of it and say, is he coherent? Can he still maintain the focus? It's the corner's job to say, my fighter is in jeopardy for his future career.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that, but if the corner's not going to do it... When the doctor was called to the ring and he was taken to the doctor, the guy was like he was walking on stilts.
But the problem for the doctor is, right, I mean, we'll kill this subject in a minute metaphorically. The doctor, when he waved him on first time, is getting a cheer from the auditorium. He's got 19,000 fans cheering. So the doctor's all of a sudden, he's in the crosshairs going, what do I do with this?
But we've got three people.
The referee didn't either.
We've got 3 people. We've got the corner, we've got the doctor, and we've got the referee. One of them should have stood up and been brave enough to stop.
Spence is a coach sitting in the middle of us. I train fighters. whose job is it?
Yeah.
Your job as a trainer is to protect your fighter and let your fighter live to fight another day, as Daniel Dubois' dad said before. Now, I saw that as... That was uncomfortable viewing for me. Yeah. And that was a case... And now, this is a completely different conversation if he was winning rounds.
Yeah.
It's a completely different conversation if that right hook that he was
so
throwing
by that time.
was landing
Daniel
and was still
so
having an effect, but it was having no effect and it wasn't really landing then. Dubois had his number with the feet. Yeah. So, therefore, you're just keeping him in with the hope and the luck that he might survive the distance or land one good shot.
Absolutely.
Again.
And the fact of the matter is, one thing taking punches from Justice Hoon, it's another thing taking punches from Daniel Dubois.
Absolutely.
Do we, very quickly before we move on to what's next for the two fighters, and specifically given there's a rematch clause, we'll ask about that, Don, but do we look at this as Daniel's best performance?
For me personally, since I've been working with him, most definitely. Because what he had to go through to get his victory.
Even though he was walking into Wembley Stadium with 96,000 people cheering for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I didn't think anything could surpass that, Simon.
Right,
that's
this has.
For me, Do
we agree?
Listen, I also think that, you have to take into account what he was coming off the back of.
Correct.
And that was a KO loss.
Yeah.
You go, that is the psychological side, the mental damage that he's got to overcome as well. That was a career best performance.
Add to that. Down within 15 seconds.
Right.
Oh, come on,
down again in the third round. To come through all that, as I said, I've been one of the biggest critics of him in the past, based on what I've seen. That's it.
Absolutely.
It's never been anything personal. I am one of his biggest supporters after that on Saturday night. I think he did absolutely brilliant.
Well said. Before we move on, it's your show. I want to plead with the general public. Get off the back of this young man. Get behind him. He's British and he's representing our country, Get off his back.
Don, I don't think the British public are on his back. I think that you have to ask questions every now and again. And there is a danger in this sport. And I understand it's a sport that I love and adore, but don't know anywhere as much as you three guys do. But observations and criticism are not people being on someone's back. When it becomes an agenda, when people start to... And I said the other day, this idea that Daniel Dubois quit, no one turned around and said to Zudo Ramirez when he took the knee twice against David Benavidez that he's a quitter. Yeah. So perhaps people should stop pulling at that a little bit. Yeah. Because I was at the Joe Joyce fight. I do have questions about certain things, but they were answered in this fight now. So Daniel Dubois, I hope, becomes the fighter that Jeff Powell wrote about 5 years ago, saying taking over the heavyweight division.
I think we need to appreciate and enjoy Daniel Dubois now. That's what I think Don's trying to... the point he's trying to get across.
There's a reason why people... like myself before this, was saying that. Still not questions answered yet. I've seen Adam Cattle, and I'm not digging Adam, I like Adam, I've got a lot of time for Adam. Adam Cattle and Nick on the Fight Disciples, this washes away any narrative of quit. It's happened in the past, that's okay, but it doesn't wash it away. It still happens. That's why we formed the opinion we formed. But that corrected a lot of wrongs in the future of Daniel Dubois. And the future Daniel Dubois I'm watching is that, and if that's what I'm seeing every time, I'll buy a ticket to watch him every single time.
What potentially could be next? Frank Warren advised everybody there's a rematch clause. How would you feel, Don, if the rematch clause was... Because obviously it's Fabio's to activate, because he was a champion at the time. How would you feel about that rematch being activated?
Well, it's really not our call, but should it materialise where they feel they're going to activate it...
Yeah. Not for them. How would you feel about Daniel fighting him again?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Because the mistakes we made this time, we're going to, from round one, rectify that mistake.
But it wasn't an easy night's work, though, was it?
God.
Just to pull you up on what you said a few months ago.
Yeah. No, that was kidding. Kidiology.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Kidiology. I remember it. Yeah, I remember it. I said easy work. And I wasn't working with Daniel at the time, right? That's the man I am. But that's just kidiology,
Can I play devil's advocate on that, though? Had the knockdowns not have happened, he won every single round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know it's...
I mean, I had it 96, 92 because there were 2 10-8s, weren't there?
Correct.
That's what I had it, yeah.
Every other round.
Do we like the idea of a rematch? My personal view on this, and I'm a huge admirer of both fighters. Yeah. You know, I like Fabio for his personality, I like Daniel for his integrity and honesty, and I like Don Charles, full stop, right? I think it gets worse for Fabio in the second fight.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because if you look at Fabio Wardley in the history when he boxed Fraser Clark and he had that life and death situation in that first fight and what happened in the second fight, what I'm saying is he's a former world champion. There was a rematch clause in there. If I'm Fabio Wardley in the team, do I activate that when I'm looking at the landscape of where I go? Of course I do, because it gives me an opportunity, and he's done it before. And so I would say, and as a fight...
Would you want him in on that? There was an opportunity
as a fight fan, I've just witnessed a fight that will go down in heavyweight history.
Yep.
And that is a fact. You know, when we're talking about great fights of the past, with, you know, your Ron Lyle and Larry Holmes and all those guys, when you look at that, this falls into that category. Were we entertained? Of course we were. Would I want to see it again? Of course. That's from a selfish point of view.
Yeah, you got to allow me to get this on my chest. Me and Paul, we spoke about it in reception before coming into the live room. The fight I will compare, the nearest fight I've watched that I can compare it to Fabio Wardley and my guy, Daniel. In 1976, George Foreman and Ron Lyle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the nearest fight.
Yeah.
And we're going back to 1976. Yeah. That's the nearest heavyweight fight.
George Foreman rebuilding himself.
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis and Ray Mercer was another brutal fight that doesn't get talked about a lot.
I mean, we've discussed this. Have you got another?
Bow in the 90s, we get them type
But boys,
of fights.
we're talking about it at that sort of level. That's what we're talking about here. So why would you not want to see that again? It's
I'll answer that for you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see Fabio Wardley in the ring for at least October, November,
Thank you
December
very much.
time. He's got to go and rest.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a bad injury.
When you
it won't happen again next.
I did the YouTube video last night explaining
so,
it because I don't want to sound like I'm being negative. There's not many negatives at all you can find from that fight. And I don't want to find
there
them.
isn't any.
I don't want to
There was
find
no
them.
losers that night, Simon.
But if he tries to jump straight back in without the rest, without recuperating, without fixing them injuries, he needs a long time. He's going to need 3 months rest. Then he'll need a 4-month camp probably, and that'll take us to January, December. So I don't think we're going to see Fabio Wardley this side of the New Year.
No, I don't think. I think Don's absolutely right.
He's got that. In between that, of course, that Daniel's going to go on and do what he's going to do, and that may never materialise. But what I'm saying is, you know, in a fantasy world, I go, would you want to see that fight again?
Hell yeah,
absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Interestingly, of course, inevitably, one of the opponents that's been potentially talked about for Daniel is Moses Itauma. Let's listen to Frank Warren speak to that.
Does Moses Itauma enter the conversation anytime soon, Frank?
Moses Itauma is boxing on the 8th of August. We're announcing his opponent next Tuesday, and that's where we are. And it certainly won't be against Daniel Dubois. He'll be taking time out now after his fight.
Yeah. But at some stage along the line, are the two destined to meet?
Of course they are. I mean, of course they are. Again, it'd be another great domestic fight. No one's trying to keep anyone apart here. We're making these fights happen. We are making these fights happen all the time. And Moses is #1 now in 3 organisations. So he's gonna fight for the world title this year. There's no doubt about that.
Not sure about that. Is it the right fight for either one of these fighters? Dubois versus Itauma next?
It's a good fight, but I think Daniel's earned the rest. And I think, as I said, you know, listen, I'm always one banging on about safety of fighters, and let him rest after that. That's a lot. There's been a big, tough camp, tough mental battle, and it was an absolute battle on the night. But I like the idea of that fight. I think if you're sitting there as Frank Warren, it's win-win either way because you've got them both, you look after them both. But I think Daniel's earned the right to go and defend this against someone else and have a
I think he runs the two fighters away from one another for a moment in time because I think there's more commercial opportunities for both fighters to be run separately. But if that fight were made, you were very confident. I know when you weren't Daniel's trainer a few months ago, and I know I like to use that clip against you sometimes,
go ahead,
but you were very confident about the ability to deal with Fabio. You weren't so forthcoming about Daniel against Moses Itauma. How do you view it now?
How I view it is that Moses is too yet to develop. He's a developing young, he's the future. Yeah? Frank Warren, we trust. He knows what, like you quite rightly said, I think is that he's going to keep them apart. Let them fight for a unification. If Moses goes away, which I believe he will go to become a world champion.
Do it in a couple of years' time.
Or 18 months. What's it? They're both signed to Frank. Yeah? So track them. Provided we're successful and keep defending our title and perhaps pick up another title, and Moses goes and picks up a title, then you bring them together. It's inevitable.
Daniel's still a young lad, and he's
talking about guys that were two young lads. That's what you say. Daniel is 28 years of age. People forget that because of what he's achieved in the sport so far. That is a huge fight that should be built. You know, when you're talking about now, Daniel's earned that right. You go, let him go and have an easy first defence against a stellar name, a Deontay Wilder type person where you go in there, and he deserves that.
But you know how it works. People are going to call for it, and it doesn't mean that necessarily it should happen, right? We're going to discuss it because that's what the media industry does. Any merit, Paul, in Daniel fighting someone like Wilder, my friend Deontay?
definitely. Why not? I think, listen, after what we've seen with Chisora, it's clear to see, without being disrespectful to Wilder, that he's there for the taking. But we knew that beforehand. It was a farewell fight. It was the only fight that I was okay with either of those fellas. And I love Derek fighting against being each other, because I wouldn't have wanted to see Derek in with someone like Itauma, and I definitely wouldn't like to see someone like Wilder being fed up to him. But that's what it would be with Dubois. Also, yeah, you definitely would. But you know, we'll make sure you got security next time. You have to be in the same room as him, Simon. We'll look after you. It's a fight that would be relatively straightforward for Dubois should he
I got your back.
Thanks, Don. All right. Before we move on to the undercard, Tyson Fury has been on socials giving his view. Have a listen to this, if you must.
Hey guys, Tyson Fury here. I got some unbelievable, exciting news coming. Stay tuned. About being in the ring. Get up! Watch his face. GK all day. Get up!
Any idea what he's talking about, Spence?
Tyson Fury always becomes relevant when there's big fights going on or big news around fights going on.
It's not about me.
Yeah, Daniel Dubois, he's thrown his name in the hat. There's big news coming. Is he going to be boxing anytime soon? I'm hearing Andy Ruiz Jr. was a name that was mentioned, that is a possible fight that Tyson Fury could be having next.
All right.
Interesting. We'll see.
The two-body beautifuls.
We'll see. You know, we want the I think where they're sat right now, AJ Fury, that should be the fight happening next. But so obviously Anthony Joshua fighting July the 25th. Tyson Fury's going to want another fight.
Yep.
It could be Andy Ruiz Jr. That's what I'll say.